What's up, guys? It's not Andrew 7 Chevy. That's my old name. It's ABV. Today I'm gonna show you how to replace a headset bearing. Yeah, no, integrated bearing. I'm smart. How to change the bearings in there, because mine wore out, and I thought might as well make a video on how to do that. So, step one, you want to get, sorry, I don't have a tripod. You want to take this off, the compression bolt off. There we go. Mine's a little snug on there, so make sure you don't bust your fingers on the handlebars, like I did. Take that completely out. This is not needed right now. We gotta take this all apart. Yeah. I just greased up these bolts like a few weeks ago, so they're still pretty greasy. I should probably clean that up still. Well, we got the compression bolt out. Right here. So, what we need to do is there's a bolt. Wait. There's a bolt on that side, and there's a bolt right there. You need to loosen those. You don't need to take them all the way out, just loosen them. But if you are greasing your whole bike, I would suggest taking them all out and greasing the threads. This is actually pretty difficult. I thought this was gonna be easy. Nothing's easy in this world. Come on. Here we go. Ooh. Those are tight. Sorry if the camera's everywhere. I'm not good at filming. Tripods are usually the way I film. Okay, so those are loose. Now, what you want to do, you want to stand above your bike. I'm going to get in front of the bike. And I'm just going to pull up on the handlebars and stem and like wiggle them back and forth while pulling up. Like this. There we go. That was just a spacer. Don't wait. That was just a spacer. You don't want to lose any of them unless you have like a lot of spacers and you can just mess around with them. But you got this off. It's step one. Now, this is the fun step because I like tearing stuff apart. So you want to top cap off. You want to make sure not to lose this stuff just in case you want to reuse it. In this case, I'm going to be reusing the top cap. You got the shim thingy that goes in there, and if you don't, sorry, but that's probably not how the bike is supposed to do. We'll drop the camera. And then you got these things, but you can just honestly just pull up the forks. Here, I'm going to try using this as a thing. Hold up, I need to see if that's a good, okay, you can see what you want to do is you want to just slide your frame up and slowly let your forks down, like that. And then basically just part the front of your bike. And now all you need to do is knock out the bearings. And if they're stuck in there, you can use your forks to slap them out. Mine usually just come out because I like taking my bike apart a lot for some reason. I don't know. This one, that one, I have no idea what happened to that one, but oh, the bottom piece was stuck on my fork, so. This is where the technique that I told you was gonna come in. I'm gonna show you right here. So you wanna you don't wanna do that. You want to use the fork and slide it at the bearing. Like, see what I'm doing? There we go. Now, you got your bearing out. That's good. Now, you can you basically just pop your new one in, which mine is right here. I'm gonna open it real quick, so sorry guys, you're just looking at the ground. Slide all this stuff out. Usually, your bottom piece comes with like a piece like this, which is good because if you don't have a raise, but I have a raise on my fork right here, so I don't need that. So that's just gonna be an extra pile. I'm gonna be reusing my Odyssey top cap, so I won't be needing that. And then I might need spacers, but I'm gonna set them over the side. This is the main thing I need to wait. Yeah. The one with the chrome-like shim piece looks like this. That's the top bearing. And then the bottom one usually has like a indent, like a slope. You can see that. This is the bottom bearing. It sits in the frame like this. Like that's the bottom. That's that. Bad example. And this is the top. But before I do that, you always want to make sure that you wipe off the excess grease. Slide some grease on. I just have this part tool, tube of stuff is what I use for my bikes. It's a great like bearing grease for your bike. But I forgot rags, so I'm gonna wipe off the old grease, slap some new stuff on, and carry out. Okay, so I just got the old grease off of my frame on the insides, both ends. That you should always clean both ends. But I totally need a bike stand, but who cares? Those are like dry, no grease in them. This has no grease. This has no grease on it. Which what you need to do is foot. You need to stay still, and you undo your grease. Get a huge blob on there like this. Just smear it all along the rays, and if you get some on the fork part, it's okay. You can always wipe the excess grease off. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay. So then you're gonna let that just sit there for a second, and then you're gonna grab your new bearing. I always start with the bottom one first. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but then I just use grease on every metal part on the bearing. You never use too much grease on a bike because it makes it a ton easier to install new stuff, and I do that a lot, so I always use a lot of grease. I wouldn't use too much on this because, well, I'd rather use too much than too little. I basically just said the opposite of what I just said. So, slide that on your fork. So, make sure there's like no dust grinding sound. And if you do have that, you probably didn't clean your fork off that well, or they're rusty, and you should probably like sand it down a little bit. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the forks out of the way, and then get the frame into perspective. Can you guys see that? And then I'm gonna just put a coat of grease in there too, just to make everything spin faster for learning bars or something, or X-ups or whatever trick you may do. And then you just slide your bearing in there, or your forks in there. Whoop, sorry guys. Just slide it in there, and you should feel it sit easy. Mine's not sitting that easy because I don't have a back wheel. So, now that's on. Oh god, my bike's not gonna stay straight up. Yes, it will. Okay, so, see how this is not sitting that well right now? Sometimes you gotta like mess with the fork and bearing, but I'm just gonna throw the top one in. Actually, you gotta probably grease the top one, but yeah, I'm not that smart. So I'm gonna grease the top one, and then do the same thing, grease this bearing, and you set it in like this once it's greased, except you also include the shim part. And I'll talk to you guys after I get that stuff greased up. Okay, so I got those bearings greased up. Now what you want to do is you want to move the steer tube of the fork and just slide the bearing in there. Look, I'm not showing you guys very well. Just want to like evenly slide it in the head tube of the frame. Wait a second. This is hard to do without a tripod. Ignore my dogs. Just push it down really well, and hopefully it sits flush. That's just grease. You can always wipe that off. And to get the bottom one flush, you just slap the frame, and the bearing usually sits down there and well. Wow, English. So then once that's done, I'm gonna throw my I think this is called a dust cover for the bearing on. 1 second, I gotta set you guys down for a second. This one you should probably clean up a little bit. You don't need to put any grease on this one because it's not really going anywhere. You can use your new one too. I just prefer to use my old one until it gets all banged up and broken and nasty looking and stuff. And then if I don't use my new one, when this one goes bad, I'll have one ready. I used to have an oil slick one, but I lost that. So you just put this on a steer tube like this, and then it's all gonna compress down once you have your stem back on your bike. So I'm gonna be safe, and I'm gonna throw a little spacer on there. I'm not sure if that's safe or bad, but I say it's safe. Wait. Should I throw a bigger one on there? I'm just comparing spacers real quick. I don't know. I'm gonna throw a little one on there too. Might as well. I'm gonna clean this one up too real quick, so let me do that real quick. Almost dropped it through the little crack. You just wanna clean it up some, then you should be good. Look, gotta drip it down again. Slide that over top. And this is where you slide your stem back on. So you gotta make sure not to step on the millions of parts from my bike. By the way, building my bike real quick. So this is why I'm doing a how to do this. Just wanna tap it on. And then sometimes you gotta like wiggle your forks back and forth so the bearing sits evenly. Or you just hammer it really hard, which I'm debating on doing right now because I'm tired of these headsets. And yeah, you can't ride a bike like this, I know, not done. So what you wanna do next is, you don't wanna worry about that, just screw that. You wanna grab your compression bolt, get all the grease off of it, and then re-lube it like I've been saying. Because grease is a good thing when you're putting the bike together. Ugh. By the way, this is the Odyssey R25 fork compression bolt. I haven't changed it. This one's been good. I've had it for like 6 months. And there goes my phone. My bike almost fell on you guys. Let's grab the grease, throw it on the splines. I didn't cut my forks down, so I only need it on the lower portion. You just slide it all along the threads. Whoops. Now, what you do is tighten the compression bolt, and we'll just snug it up and we'll wait for the bearings to compress. Right now. Okay, after you do that, wait. You don't want to tighten it all the way down like Macho Man. You just want to snug it down, like enough to where the bearings press. Or you can snug it down and then loosen it like a quarter. And then you want to line up your wheel so it's straight with the fork. Like, this is hard to do through a camera. And it's not straight. And it's decent right there. It's pretty straight. Okay, then you tighten up these bolts, or you re-grease them and then put them back in. And then you tighten them. I'm just gonna tighten them right away. I re-greased them a few weeks ago, so they should be good. And then after you tighten that, you completely change the headset. Good job. And then after you do that, you gotta do one more step. You gotta take a picture of your bike and tag Andrew099FTW on Instagram of your new headset. And yeah, this is ABV out. Later.